Hey, what's going on, guys?
Camera. There we go.
How you doing, Eric? You good?
Good, thanks, Mike.
Nice, nice. Let's get this adjusted a little. See, for some reason, my camera does this thing where it keeps going like light and dark. I think it's
Oh
because of the
yeah.
contrast. I don't know. After, yeah.
Hi.
It's been doing that for a bit, but yeah, I just ignore.
Oh yeah, it's going really bright. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's the contrast because like dark and then light. It's like the camera trying to maybe adjust.
Now the
Yeah.
focus is gone.
All right, let's put
That's
it
better.
back. So let me zoom in. Okay, that'll be okay for now. Yeah. Well, how's your week been, Eric?
Yeah, good, thanks.
It's been good. Nice, nice.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Newt? How's your week been?
It's going okay. Work has been kind of crazy this week again, but not as bad as last week. So
Oh, nowhere. Wow. Okay, at least it's improved a little bit. That's good news, at least.
yeah, everyone's just trying to get in all these projects before we have like an end of year freeze in December, since a lot of people are taking vacation. So everyone's trying to scramble to get everything done before then.
Oh wow. Nice, nice. Urgent,
Good
busy.
morning, everyone.
Good morning,
How
Giovanni.
you doing, Giovanni? It's nighttime for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, how's
Yeah,
things how's
Friday
things been?
morning. 9 o'clock works a little bit better for me.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the last two were a little too early. Like last one was a little too early.
Okay.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, guys. Sorry.
I was just doing a few little introductions, just getting a call in. Yeah. Yeah, how's your week been, Giovanni?
Good so far. Been really hectic trying to get this holiday Christmas collection out. I started late because I was traveling a lot last month and the month before. So but fortunately, I don't have any approvals I need from anybody, so that's gonna make things a lot faster. Once that I'm ready, I'm just going to go and launch it.
Very nice, yeah. It's nice having like no one to kind of report to in that way. You just kind of go straight in, no friction.
It's always good to have somebody's feedback, especially somebody who is not involved in the design process, somebody that maybe has more interest in the marketing and sales and whatnot. So to me, clients always kept me in check in terms of design. Made sure I didn't go too wild or selfish or self-involved in what I was doing, and kept in mind the objectives of the project, which were basically a product you can sell. Um, so on the other end, quite frankly, the beauty of designing for 3D printing is that there are no associated costs. There's no tooling cost. There's no inventory. There is no so you can actually do what you can't do in conventional manufacturing, meaning that you can offer variations of the same idea, 3, 4, 5 different variations of the same idea, and let people decide which one they prefer to download and print, because there are no associated investments and risks. In the
Yeah.
end, if you are marketing a brand, your marketing costs are shared over your entire brand and product line, so it doesn't really matter. And But when you're injection molding, you're spending thousands of dollars on a mold, and then you have to put inventory on the shelf, and then you have to distribute it, and then you disappoint your retailers because the product hasn't sold. Those are all like different sets of issues that you need to deal with.
Yeah, yeah. Very true. There's definitely good benefits to the 3D printing process, how easy it is to iterate, how easy it is to get something to market. Obviously rapid prototype typing. So yeah, that's good. We'll use it to the advantage.
Yeah, and to me, it's also democratization of design in the sense that the designer is able to deal directly with the maker and consumer. It doesn't have to go through the traditional channels of again, the manufacturer involved, the retailers involved, and a lot of different stakeholders that can well, first of all, take a cut of it, because economically, that's how products end up costing a lot of money, because there is, there is the sales rep needs to make money, there's a retailer needs to make money, the designer needs to make money, the manufacturer needs to make money, and here we're basically going from designer to consumer. So in fact, one of the complaints that I have is the fact that we're paying for filament, which is raw material, the equivalent of novelty items. I can like literally go to the store and get the same amount of weight in material, in products, as a spool of filament. And sometimes it's actually even cheaper. If I go to the dollar store, the Yakuen shop here, I can get a kilo of plastic and it'll actually be less than a roll of PLA. And that's manufactured and distributed, and there's marketing and markups and all the stuff involved. So that's one complaint that I have, is that eventually, when the volumes will grow, we'll be able to pay for material what we should pay for material, what manufacturers pay for pallets of plastic that they injection mold. So
Yeah, I mean the good thing is like each year that's gone by, it's getting cheaper and cheaper. There's more filament options as well. Like even in terms of 3D printing, like the actual 3D printers itself have come down in price so much because there's more manufacturers, there's more people getting into the field. So I think it'll continue to go down, and there's definitely people focusing on bringing that price down. Looking at solutions to bring like a filament maker at home. So yeah, there's good. It's definitely moving in the right direction. So I think we'll get to that cheaper stage of filament.
there's an interesting thing that I'm always learning something. I've been working with these people in London to basically manufacture my products from my sliced files on the same Bambu Lab machines that I have. And so this guy, the CEO, he runs My Mini Factory, which is a large depository. They mainly deal with like figurines and that kind. Have a whole manufacturing setup, resin and FDM 3D printing. And so we were discussing how to handle materials, because what they're doing right now, it's more for that market than not home accessories. And we need a whole new range of colors and materials and so forth. And according to him, basically, there's only like a handful of filament manufacturers out there. Everybody else is basically a distributor of some sort that is maybe doing custom colors and repackaging the material and so forth. So said what we really need to do is go to the source, go to the people who actually really manufacturing this, so we can get the best possible price. And so that's another thing, is that there are a lot of people who are coming into it, I think, because they see an easy way to make a buck, because they don't really have to do anything. They can basically repackage something that it's existing, and make a markup on it. So eventually, when the market gets more competitive, they'll all have to come down with the price. But now that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, it's a lot to it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But we had in the last meeting, basically it was either the last one or the one before that, where it was looking at how to get a lot cheaper filament deals and stuff like that. So one of the websites was I think it was AliExpress or Alibaba, one of those two, and you can get like 5 filaments for like I think $50 or something like that, so like $10 each. So it's interesting seeing the how much cheaper it is to buy in like obviously from China, and buying in bulk as well, you can get some much better deals and stuff like that, which is interesting. But yeah, I just want to say hello to Stan and Robert.
Greetings, greetings.
Yeah, how's it going for you guys? How's 3D printing going?
I haven't been doing any printing at all. I've been playing around with tractor tires and burn piles and other things that are incredibly productive, but unrelated to our current topic.
That's fair.
On the filament, um, at several of the Rep Rap festivals and a couple of trade shows, I have seen some interesting printer heads that use the bulk pellets rather than filament. However, the level of complexity that that brings to the party and the blending of dyes and other such things, that is something that the filament manufacturers do bring. Um, those covered hoppers with 110,000 pounds of plastic pellet in them are a pretty generic material until they get offloaded and blended with pigment pellets and all the rest of that sort of thing at the manufacturers. But it's interesting. And I looked at it and I went, yeah, I could invest $8,000 or $10,000 in tooling up to do all of this cool stuff. Or maybe I could just say, well, generally, the Bamboo Labs filament works pretty well in their stuff. Voxel works pretty well in the rest. And when I want to be posh, I bust out the Polymaker Pro.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
that's because the now if you're in an incredibly high volume, perhaps having an in-house filament manufacturer at some point would become a practical undertaking. But I got too much junk now in my world.
Very understandable. Very understandable. It's hard because even with 3D printing, a lot of the time people just kind of print in random junk as well. They haven't really got something that
Yeah,
is useful in that way. So yeah, interesting dynamic for
and
sure.
I think too the palette print the palette feed devices that I saw at the East Coast Rep Rap Festival on two different occasions were, you had to be a fanboy of the process because you needed to make excuses. And if you're trying to sell a product, well, uneven flow rates, uneven uh, viscosity as you're pumping through, you're trying to get good prints. But yeah, there are only a few manufacturers of the bulk products. As for filaments, there are a couple. I mean, there's Printed Solid actually does have their own production line. I've seen that.
Okay.
Uh, I assume that Polymaker does just because they've got access to an incredible amount of technical information. And the people I've talked to from Polymaker actually understand something about plastic. They're not just empty suit sales shills.
Nice.
Voxel, I really don't know if they really understand what they've got or not, or if they've just found a bulk manufacturer to feed their own print farm and they went, hey, here's another revenue stream. I kind of think it's probably here's another revenue stream because printing labels and sticking them on spools is not exactly a complicated endeavor from a grow your business perspective.
Yeah, definitely. There's like a lot of kind of main filament manufacturers, and then even some of the filament comes from the same place. They just label it differently. So yes.
Yeah, and
revenue.
I think one of the big issues that you see is that the downside of that is you may get a really wonderful filament from one vendor one time. And then the next time you buy the same filament, you're going, no, this isn't, no, this is not the same material. What the heck's going on? Sunlu is one that was like that for me.
Yeah.
I had some very variable results with them, to the point that I actually had one spool that had a tangle halfway through the spool.
Wow.
I walked back up to the house from my shop. I had a 20-hour print running. It had been going for 8 or 9 hours while I was doing other stuff in the shop. I came out and there was this tangle, halfway, 2/3 of the way through the spool. And in spite of what all the Reddit people insist, no, I didn't somehow stop partway through, unspool the filament, flip one
Put
roll,
you
and
on, not
put it
yet.
back on. But I
Yeah.
was gone for hours before that gig came up. So, um,
Yeah.
you know, but their Sunlu Meta is beautiful on an A1 for printing miniatures. If you use the what is it, Tomb of Printed Horrors profiles,
Okay.
amazing results with that one particular filament. At least for the 2 rolls I got. We'll see what happens with the third down the road.
Yeah, it's kind of like Giovanni. That's one of the things you're talking about in terms of having, separate, I guess, people that are printing for you and having the same settings with the same kind of filament, so it's like consistent, so you don't have to worry about the quality of the filament changing. That's one of the kind of challenges you were looking at, right?
Well, I get a little bit of frustrated myself. I mean, I buy a retail, right? So I buy 1 roll at a time, and I see that the supply, well, besides the fact sometimes the quality can be inconsistent, as Stan was mentioning, but the supply is not reliable, meaning that Overture, for example, they have seasonal colors, and I am basically developing a color palette that I plan to use from season to season, and now it's not available anymore, and I have to work around it and figure out another solution. If you start selling a product line that relies on this filament, then you need a guaranteed supply of this filament. And so you need to actually talk to the manufacturer and have agreements with them ahead of time before you start investing in making prints, shooting them, uploading them on a website and promoting them and all that. And then you need to be able to deliver this stuff without holding 2 tons of material in the back. The issue with the using pallets rather than filament is that, well, first of all, right now, as far as I know, all pallets are made for injection molding, so the material is engineered in a different way, as Stan was pointing out. They're not engineered for 3D printing. So you need to figure out how to get that material to work in a 3D printer, and that can be pretty tricky. But my point is that material is also engineered as the material is engineered for 3D printing and to be used as a filament. So there is no reason why the material that we're getting is so much more expensive than that other material, aside from the fact that we're getting it in 1 kilo at a time instead of 500 kilos at a time. So in my research, I found out that basically if you start talking to manufacturers, everybody is open to that kind of discussion. Volume discounts, depending. Some of them offer them right off the bat if you buy a case, 10 kilos at a time, 5 kilos at a time. But if you're talking about more than that, then you basically need to talk to them and negotiate prices and get a guarantee on supply and consistency and all that stuff. I used to work in years and years ago in textile, and I've noticed that the same things are with the reliable manufacturers of filament. The same things are happening where you cannot guarantee you're going to get exactly the same color, and you cannot guarantee you're getting exactly the same material. That's where the problem is, right? But you cannot guarantee you get exactly the same color from batch to batch. So if you look at the reliable suppliers, you'll find on the box the batch number. And if you want to switch filament in the middle of a print, just because you ran out of a roll and you want to start another one, you need to make sure they come from the same batch. Otherwise, there's going to be a color variation.
But
So
it's Pantone certified, honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you say it's the same color, and you load it, and halfway through the print, and the color is different, noticeably different, and then you go and look at the box, and it's like it's a different batch number, it's a different dial.
Kind of Pantone, kind of reddish isn't close enough for you. God, you're picky.
I think Polymaker would be probably a bit better at the consistency, maybe, because they have like so many different color combinations, right?
You simply can't. There are so many factors involved. Basically, once you make a batch, that batch, anything from that batch is going to have consistent color. But once you make another batch, it's like seasons, the temperature, the humidity, the like everything else that is involved in the settings and so forth. Everything else that is involved affects the color. And if you notice, if you change some materials, if you change your extruder temperature, the color will change.
Color drift. Yep.
That's a big
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
I
Well,
think it depends on the
you're
filament
saying
type.
Polymaker. I like Polymaker stuff. I generally know if I toss in a spool of Polymaker Pro, as long as I dry it before I try to use it, I will probably get a good print.
Yeah.
Maybe a little variation, but I know I'm going to get either it's a good print or I goofed on a slicer setting. It's probably not the material. As long as you stay away from Polyterra. The Save the Earth stuff is so reliable. But I will also say, like Giovanni was just saying, I tend to print in gray because almost everything I do is going to end up being printed. And gray is wonderful because I shoot black primers and I shoot white ink from above in many cases. So I know I've got coverage. And meanwhile, gray doesn't get in the way of anything else. And if a little chip occurs somewhere along the line, it probably won't look bad on a mile road layout or something. You know, you can reach in with a toothpick and hide your sin. But Polylight Pro gray drifts around in its shade. There's no denying it from batch to batch and year to year. I used to do a lot of photography. My eyeballs are pretty well caliber. He drifts as much as 5% away from the central range.
So my signal's
Doesn't
a bit
matter
bad.
to me. If you were wanting
1 second.
better than you want to accept.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, my signal cut out for like the last 10 seconds. yeah. And I get the general gist for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's quickly say what's up to Moose. How you doing, Moose? I don't know if he's there.
Moose might be muted.
Hey
there he is, dude.
What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm here. I'm in the background monkeying around with my shit.
Cool,
I'm listening.
Cool. Awesome.
7 o'clock my time is just if I'm not in the middle of dinner or sleeping or otherwise occupied and I don't set an alarm, I just completely zoom past this hour for some reason. But anyway, hello, gentlemen. How you doing tonight? And hello there, Newt.
Doing good.
Newt.
Doing good.
Newt. Hi, Newt.
Anyway, what is it your time, Mike? Are you at 11 p.m. midnight?
I'm at midnight right now. Past midnight, yeah.
I remember being a night owl before I went all gray and white in my hair. God damn.
That's my problem is that I am a night person, so it might be likely that I'll be sound asleep right now and at midnight bouncing around like it's 4 p.m. to me, So that's what happens.
And Eric, is that 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. on that clock behind you?
That's like is that 10, half 10?
Oh, Eric.
Yeah, Eric, you've got a little clock behind you there. Hey, Eric, you're muted.
Yeah, 11 a.m. Friday.
Ah,
Awesome.
we're going to have to do that sign language thing, and I don't do it.
King
King
Moon.
Moon!
Nice. You know what? I actually got an email from them. I need to get back to them. They was talking about they do filament and resin as well. And I was thinking about like sending me some samples, I think. So yeah. I had another company as well. They sent me some resin. They're gonna send me some filament, I think. Yeah. So we're gonna do some testing on that stuff. Do a quick little review. So we'll see how that goes.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
What type of resins? The ASA like or the flexibles, or what are you playing with these days?
So this is some tough resin.
Okay.
It's like two versions of tough resin. There's like two different kind of ones. Yeah. All like grey. I've not resin printed for a while, so that'll be fun to crank that back out. Yeah.
I haven't in a while either. I screwed up my printer with a pinhole in the film. I didn't realize, and I left resin in there, and it got in through the LCD, and had to buy a new LCD, redo the whole printer, do the rest, and then the weather got nice, and I got motivated to sort out a bunch of junk around my property. And so much for hobby and entertainment and other productive and useful things. But winter's coming. I can hope for a cold, wet winter, and then I'll have excuses to go, no, honey, I can't take care of that today. It's too crappy out. My knees hurt. I'm going to go build a model boat.
Nice. Winter's a big time for 3D printing because everyone stays in. It's home hobby. Because I used to, with the website, you could like track the analytics, and I could see it's pretty much seasonal. You could see the low part in the summer, and then everyone shoots up and starts buying like or searching up 3D printing when it gets cold. And then Christmas time, get a massive bump, like twice or three times the amount of people coming to the website because everyone's buying 3D prints for Christmas. And then it kind of teeters off maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks after January. So people are like, okay, not, it's kind of come to the back burner, but yeah, it was always nice to see.
Back up again after a little while, and then the dog days of August hit the U.S. and it's 110 degrees out and it's 99% humidity. And an overweight old guy like me goes, "Oh hell no! I'm going in the air conditioner and I'm going to have a nice time."
Indeed. Yep, it's very seasonal stuff. Gotta love it.
It was almost 70 degrees today here in upstate New York.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? It was 80 degrees today. I was out there sweating on the tractor while I was taking care of a burn pile. But
wow.
Oh well.
Yeah, how's it going, Robert Jacobson? Quickly say hello.
Oh, hello. I made it.
We're all staring at your square.
Yeah, I don't have I'm sitting in my recliner right now looking at you guys on my 65-inch TV off my Mac Mini. So
nice.
I don't have a camera on it. So
well, look at this. You've got this dapper bunch of folks staring back at you, and you're not showing off.
Yeah, I gotta get a camera on this thing, but then I'd have to, got my house tank top on and shorts kicking back. So
we'll match you. Don't worry.
I was going to say, if your tank top is your formal wear for a get together, I don't want to know what you're wearing right now.
Yeah, I just got back. I got a little gig here this last month. I teaching a couple of we have 2 tech hubs that are in the area here. One's about 15 miles out, and one's right in town. And these kids from school, they have a bunch of computers and a little music studio and a couple of 3D printers each. So I got a gig where I taught a 3-day, 2-hour-a-day boot camp for 3D printing a couple of weeks back, and then last week I did the CAD class using Fusion,
Nice.
teaching these kids. I had about a dozen in the one class there, and then this one I'm doing this week and next week. I get about 4 or 5 students there, but they're paying me $2,000 for all of this. So it's like $83 an hour. And I'm like, hey, I couldn't turn that down.
Nice.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, how did you end up getting that? Is it like people you know, stuff
well,
like that?
I got referred through the grapevine from they have another it's not really a maker space, but it's similar in the concept that's called the Forge, and that place has like great big CNC welders. They don't actually have any usable 3D printers right now, but it's like one of these deals where to encourage small business people, they rent you space really cheap. And anyway, I'd met that gal and mentioned that I had a dozen printers, and she talking to the one person that is in charge of the education department, and she got my number from her and the first lady, and then they gave me a call and wanted some help with their printer. Well, then we got talking, and then I asked if there's any class available to teach, and then she told me about the boot camp thing, and so took about a month from the time we started talking about it to get it set up. But yeah, it's a pretty good little gig for
Nice.
basic stuff,
Awesome.
Well, like the slicer and stuff, you can't teach somebody in 6 hours everything they need to know about a slicer. So you just get through the basics, and the same thing with Fusion, I just picked a couple of easy small projects to give them the basic layout of it. So yeah, it's I'm hoping later I want to learn sculpting and Fusion, and then I'm hoping maybe to get a class doing that, because a lot of the kids want to learn organic modeling.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm actually learning Blender right now. I can send you it's like a YouTube video playlist that I'm going through. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm impressed, Michael. Your nose isn't broken from slamming into that brick wall 3 times. Blender's a bear to get into it.
no, Blender. I've
yeah.
taken some lessons in that before, and it is a bear. It's a
Oh man,
nightmare.
I've used it a bit, but my gosh, I would not brag about it.
Yeah.
I went through 3 or 4 different deals trying to learn it, YouTube, and they all kind of, and then Blender updates so often, and they make like when they went from 3 to 4, I think it was, or whatever, they changed a whole bunch of stuff. Well, the one I found that it was good, that I did like and got through a few lessons, and it was CG Cookie.
That's the name of the guy.
That's the name of the class, and then I'll see if I can dig it up, and I'll put it in the chat. But that was a really good one, and their free version lessons, and then of course they got a monthly plan where they got everything about Blender. So,
Okay.
Cookie.
Yeah. So the one I'm doing now is like a playlist. So we haven't actually started making anything. It's like going through the settings, how to do the windows. So it's like basically getting you familiar with the software, the layout. And I think in the next lesson or so, we're gonna start to make stuff. So yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. Yeah.
Getting rid of that pesky cube in the middle of your screen. Now what do I do?
Yeah, definitely. I've actually been thinking about doing like a new thing. So I've been working right now on logo creation. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I've done a previous article on it, but I'm gonna start to like get into doing logos and see if I can use that as a niche and kind of do like a thing where you could either sell logos online or go to local businesses in the area and then do like a service where you're selling a logo. You could sell maybe keychains, any kind of desk ornaments, like a various kind of range of things with the company logo. So I think there's some good space for that. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more and see how that goes.
There's a guy floating around on YouTube. I'd seen some of his stuff, who focuses on logo creation and that sort of thing using Inkscape. Now,
I've
his
actually been
focus
using that,
was
yeah.
on laser stuff, but okay, great. At most logos, you're going to want to be able to put them on paper or perhaps in a 3D object. So, you're going to just suck them in and extrude them up to do your 3D, but you probably are going to start with the best artwork you can get in a 2D type of format, perhaps, for logos.
Definitely. Yeah, Moose, you had something to say?
Yeah, speaking of logos and stuff like that, which is kind of where I'm headed. And again, I'm just stepping foot on the yellow brick road here, but has any guy have you guys looked at HueForge?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I've used
I've
that.
I've
heard of
looked
it, but I
at it
haven't used
at
it.
the Rep Rap festivals. Man, that is a really cool product. But like Blender, people that know what they're doing make it look so darn
I
easy.
know, right?
But
But
HueForge is really, you've got to have your color theory acts together. If you ever looked at a big ass soundboard in a recording studio after you ran a little Shure mic mixer and went, oh, I am so far out of my league. That's how I felt, even though I've done color printing and a lot of other things. When I looked at the HueForge main screen, I went, wow, this lets you do everything. I wish I knew what half the words meant, but
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
it's
there's a
very,
lot of it you can ignore. There's a ton of it in there you don't need to worry about. It's mostly just playing with your colors is the
that's true.
yeah,
trickiest part.
that's what the guy who wrote it said to me. He goes,
Yeah,
realistically, this is here for the people that love to play. You can pretty much point and shoot and get something vaguely usable and then tweak it from there. And I was like, okay,
You
yeah,
should make
but
like
I don't have a
you should make a light
multicolor
version.
printer setup. So
Yeah, I don't
There's
like
one
when it's
nice
too
thing about
complicated, isn't it? It's like you should have like a light version, which is just you click a few buttons and then it just does it for you, rather than
yeah.
having all the extra stuff. You
Well,
know.
one nice thing about HueForge is because each layer is separate, they don't blend the colors on the same layer. You can do it with a regular printer. If you're only dealing with like four layers or something, it'll, it's just a matter of a good.
I don't have a big enough sense of humor to sit there doing filament swaps
Well,
for half
but
a day.
the point I brought it up because with logos, it
Yeah,
prints flat, so you can print basically what looks like a plastic picture. Uh,
yes.
and there are guys online on YouTube. There's one real character who takes you through it from A to Z, beginner on, and makes it look simple. It's not a simple program. You're right. There's so many things that you can adjust on it. It's ridiculous. But I have also discovered that uh, there is a very active 3D printer uh, community on Discord.
Mhm.
And I'm an IRC person. I don't know if you guys know what that program is, but back in,
A
I
while
have
ago.
been on IRC since the early 90s. And there's a tight knit community there too.
Mhm.
So, but it's all text based. And so when Discord came along, I kind of looked at it as kind of down my nose a little bit at it. A couple of us got a Discord channel or server, and we all hung out on it and threw jokes at each other and hung out together for a while. And that kind of went off the radar for a while. But boy, was I surprised when I discovered the 3D printer and software communities there. So for the Bamboo Lab printer specifically, I can speak to that because that's where I hang out most. There's thousands of users, and it's an active community. So if I have been trying to learn from YouTube videos, but I have come to the conclusion that I need somebody over my shoulder more. A YouTube video will present the information in sequence, and if they're good, they keep your attention. But in the Discord, I can ask someone, and they can give me specific answers to my questions. So I have progressed much quicker by using Discord and those channels, and I'm addicted to it, to be honest with you. In fact, I'm actually using it more than IRC, which I never thought I'd say that, but in the HueForge arena, there is a HueForge server, and the owner, the guy that wrote the programs in there and active.
Mhm.
Um, And I just started out with it. I bought the program a week ago. It's $24 if you go there. Now, this is in the United States, Eric and Giovanni, but if you go to their website, you pay $24 for the program, but you get a coupon for $24 that's applicable to the Polymaker website. So you can go there and you can buy a spool of filament for $25, pay the 99-cent difference, and it's free shipping. And then once you do that, you get a $10 coupon in your email because you bought the Polymaker filament. So it's a some zero transaction.
And that gets you waffle fries that are great in your air fryer at the local grocery store.
I mean, if there is a barrier to entry, there it is. I mean, I am a free software guy. I don't like buying software.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When you said IRC, I started smiling because I'm going, my God, he's almost as old as I am. I had Bang email addresses. Yeah.
Okay. I was user number 8 on Undernet, if that helps.
Okay.
User number 8. So anyway, but so I'll get off that topic. We got timing here, but as far as Mike, HueForge, if you're looking at logos, explore that because it's something. It really is. It is an incredible program, and the crap you can do with it, it'll just blow your mind. And if you want, get on the Discord and on their HueForge Discord and look at some of the examples of what people do with it. Not only
I hadn't even thought about that for logos, but I could see that being really good for that.
Yes.
And it would let you do a whole lot more than you could do sitting in there just playing with painting and your slicer.
Not only that, you can splice your bed size is 230 by 230. These guys are making wall art with it. They're making whole walls with it. It's pretty incredible stuff. But again, it's powerful, and you definitely want it. It's like Fusion. It might not be quite that bad, but it's right up there. Yeah,
I'll definitely look into that. I'll go dive into tutorials. Definitely in the Discord, get some help there. But
there's one guy. I'll put his URL in the Witchy-Jigger there. There's one guy that's really good at it. I actually discovered HueForge from a Reddit post somebody made, and they just made a comment about it, and it was a TikTok video. I'm not a TikToker. I'm an IRCer. TikTok again is one of those kid toys. They get on there, and all of a sudden, there's this guy that he's got like skajillion TikToks of how he makes this, that, and the third. And so that's what got me on it. And then eventually there was I got his YouTube channel, and I'll post it here, or at least I'll try and get it on there before we're done here, and take a look at it that way. And I think maybe you'll be motivated to check it out more.
100%, man. Really appreciate
it.
It
is an amazing piece of code. It really is. And
I've seen the examples.
Windows. Sorry, Linux bigot here. What do you want?
Sweet.
But I have Windows boxes scattered around because I'm not giving up my Libre CAD package.
Nice. Hey, how's it going, Larry? Good to see you.
Doing good.
Awesome. How's your week been?
Busy. And then I was trying to get on because I left work early, and I was trying to get on mobile, and it wouldn't let me on. I was like, "What?" Like, I'll just wait till I get home.
Nice. That's good. Have you been 3D printing recently? How's that going?
I've been printing a couple of little things, checking out a couple of Christmas decorations and everything. But I've been waiting for parts for my AMS so that I can make sure my AMS is working properly before I build my Python.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, my AMS is down right now, so I've literally just like left it. I need to get back onto that because I was doing some troubleshooting. I had the thing opened up. I even went down to the system where it has has like the magnets inside, which I was like, okay, there's magnets, that's pretty cool. But then I tried to put it
Yeah,
together,
well, so
and yeah, it was a mess.
I took mine apart one time because I was having problems with it hanging up, and I actually took it all apart, and there was a bunch of stuff that was in there. I didn't even have to pull the magnets. I just cleaned everything out and everything. That's why I was telling you, if it's not leaving the AMS, then go ahead and take it apart and clean that, because that's probably where the problem is.
Could be, it could be. Yeah, I'm gonna have a closer look into that for sure. Probably tomorrow because it's quite late, but yeah, definitely get back onto that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of the people online, I started a group for people with Pythons or wanting to purchase Pythons, because everything was getting lost in like some of the Facebook groups on Bamboo Labs. So I was like, you know what? Let me start this and see what happens. And I have about 145 people in just under a month, or right at a month now. I've got 145 people, and when you look at people that donated and got a serial number or purchased their Python from one of the vendors, you're eligible to get a serial number from Hume being, and so there's barely 100 even there.
Wait, so what do you mean by Python? Do you mean like an actual like model?
So if you look up Python AMS, it is basically harvesting all your parts out of the AMS and onto this onto a basically new AMS that is gear driven. So instead of being friction driven by the motors on the little rubber rollers, you actually turn it into a gear drive, and now it's kind of like
this thing, right?
Yeah, that right there.
Epic.
So, and I've got the enclosure and everything. You can actually load up to a 2 kilogram spool onto there.
Wow. Wait, does that take
so
long
it's all gear
to put
driven.
together?
So I've got it all printed. Instead of buying the print, I didn't want it the same as everybody else, and I actually printed it in a in PETG and in a translucent blue fading to white.
Nice. It looks has a lot of information down there. It looks pretty complicated.
It's not that complicated. It's more complicated reading it than to sit there and just follow along and put it together.
You want complicated? Do an enraged carrot feeder. or a Voron. Yeah. Then you'll go, oh, AMS? Hell.
Exactly.
I can drink heavily while I do this. I'll be all right.
I mean, there's been questions in some of the groups. Oh, well, what do you gain out of it? I'm like, well, not only is it gear driven, if you're into off-roading, it's like taking a Jeep with 373s and upgrading it to a 456. You gain torque and everything, So, I mean, you're going from basically a friction-driven device and going to an 11-to-1 gear ratio.
Awesome.
What is the advantage again for that to do that? What would the advantage for that be?
So if you have a Bamboo P1 series or X1 series, the AMS, I mean, I've had mine since June. It has its own set of issues. It's really not a bad system, but it's all friction driven. It has problems with cardboard spools.
Okay.
Sometimes if the spool's not a bamboo spool, it has issues when it gets too light that you have to add weights so that it can get friction to drive it and everything. So it takes the friction out of it. And I mean, it's basically a 1-to-1 ratio of that friction with that little motor that's in there, and you get an 11-to-1 gear ratio, so you get torque out of it, and then its spool you actually put a cone through the spool and tighten it up, so now it's held on there, and it never touches the rollers. It's actually lifted
Nice.
off the ground or off the bottom, and it's gear driven and suspended.
So what's cost for the parts? You say you printed the plastic. What is the?
So I printed the plastic, and it's right around 2 kilograms of plastic.
Okay.
If you do the whole enclosure, it's about $115 from Voxel PLA. So, in fact, let me.
Yeah, but if it makes your AMS work, that's a pretty
Right.
nice deal.
Exactly. You know, you actually can gain out of it. So,
Well, it's also cheaper than the AMS.
well, yeah, but you have to have an AMS to put it together.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're
You have to
harvesting-
have the proprietary parts from bamboo to okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a Franken AMS. You got to harvest out the original thing. Go, you brought me an abnormal brain, you idiot!
So I mean, you know,
Abby,
so you're
abnormal.
basically sitting there and you're modding the AMS. So
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. Yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, but everybody that's already built them, they're happy with it. They were having some minor issues, you know, and everybody's like, Larry, you're the one that started this group. How come yours isn't built yet? And I'm like, mine's still under warranty, and I have no problems doing the work, but I started having problems. So while it's under warranty, why not get the new parts? And, you know, so they're sending me a main board and a couple of smaller pieces and everything, because their logs tell them, you know, what's not working and what's working. So, you know, they see some potential issues with the main board. Well, that doesn't mean I can't sit there and take that main board, put it into my Python, and if everything works, now I have a backup main board that I didn't pay any money for.
Good point.
So, you know, if they're going to send me the free parts because I'm not modded, in fact, my AMS is sitting there, not even in the case, just sitting on my bench, feeding everything.
Cool. Oh,
Awesome stuff.
So,
Awesome stuff.
that's good to know. Those
I just
are
put the
things
link.
to know. I mean, someday in the future, I may end up with a 1PS or a PS1 or whatever the hell it is.
It's a P1S, but you know, P1S is it's a great machine. You know, I mean, some people don't like spending the extra $600 for an X1C, but you know, they're like, it's not really worth the $600 to them for a better camera and the LiDAR.
Right.
Okay. I mean, some people have sat there and seen me talk about my translucent filaments and some of the silks. I got one of the cool plates. Well, it doesn't like calibrating the filaments because the different reflection. You know, so the other day someone was giving me a hard time, and I'm like, you know what? If that's all the problem is, no big deal. I just ignore the calibration, or, you know, an error on the first layer. I look at it, there's no error, move on.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
Before we go, because we're coming down to, I got
Yeah.
6 minutes looking at here. Michael, if and when you put these videos on YouTube, I know I mentioned it. I don't recall if you responded or not, but you should put the URLs for your school website on there in your descriptions, and some of these URLs and other, I guess, recommendations that are in your transcript here.
Yeah, definitely.
Also,
I actually did that for the other videos. So yeah, I've got the school link in there, then some of the like URLs that you mentioned in the call. So I've got those in the description now as a good suggestion. Yeah, so I implemented that.
I don't know if that matters in the long term. people might start getting driven to the websites. I wasn't here last week. I didn't even see any reference to last week's meeting. Was there a meeting last week?
So there's
Yes, we talked about you extensively.
Did you?
It was all about moose.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't see anything, any reference, no transcript or anything. But
yeah, I was actually supposed
Because
to
it
upload that
became a
basically.
chat.
Yeah, it's like only a couple of us, a few of us, and I think it's because it was Halloween. That's what we was thinking, but yeah, it's pretty low key. So I'll put the recording up still though.
I slept right through you. I'm sorry. I told you I'm up all night.
Oh, we swore you were out scaring kids.
That's not hard to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask Newt, I know we talked about some of the Etsy stuff and like you're still working on a new product, I think. How's that kind of going?
Yeah, sorry that that message wasn't intended to be like pay attention to me. That was in response to Larry. But
yeah, no, I wanted to ask you that before,
yeah.
but yeah, that's good.
But you were quiet, so I said hi in there while they were talking.
But yes, I'm hoping to release a new product either tomorrow or Saturday. It's an enamel pin display in the shape of a cherry blossom, and it can be hung on the wall or put on a stand that I have yet to try the stand for. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so I tried the tips in that video that you sent me, and so we're gonna see how that does. But it was a lot easier to get tags and a title from from that method than what I had been doing. So
Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, definitely let me know how it goes. If you obviously need any kind of pointers or tips, you can always post in a group. I'm sure we can give you some kind of good tips about how to improve stuff and stuff like that. So yeah.
okay, thank you.
Awesome.
I'll be sure to share it once I have it figured out at least.
Yeah, I did want to recommend to this everyone in general. Post in the group more if you can. If you have like any kind of general questions or just any updates about what you're doing in terms of 3D printing, you can post in the group. And yeah, try to get more people kind of talking. So that'd be good, I think. Yeah.
I got bamboozled into doing an introductory machining course for the local model boat building club. So that's going to be fun. Bunch of people that have never ever done any machining in their lives, and most of them are terrified of the internet. Why can't I get printed catalogs for all these things anymore? And it's like, oh my god, this is going to be either really good or really comical. Hopefully by next month I'll have some fun stories for y'all.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah,
or you can post them up in the chat.
Yep, we can put them in there. We'll see what happens, but hilarity shall ensue one way or another.
Nice. And I want to ask, did anyone have any kind of like general questions about 3D printing, anything they're doing right now that they want some help on maybe? Pretty much everyone's decently set. That's good. Yeah, I was wondering if we should have like a theme for one of the meetings. I don't know if anyone wants to talk about like any kind of topic in particular, or just do like a general kind of back and forth. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Do a poll.
Could do. Yeah.
Oh, a poll on whether or not polls should be used. Let's get re-entry.
Or Newt can pick the theme.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
no
got
pressure
Etsy,
there, huh?
she's got the Etsy. She's been doing all this stuff. I mean, Stan and I are doing all this stuff, and I'm throwing a bunch of stuff out there on this bamboo lab machine. So
yeah. Nice suggestion. Nice. Yeah. Because I helped Newt with like some Etsy SEO stuff. So yeah, it's just like wanted a little bit of help with that. So that should be interesting. See what kind of results we can get there. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Michael, I'm just kind of digging your your head attire right now. I'm thinking, is that like Overture Gold Silk? Did you go full silk here?
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I was like, did he
new model.
print a cap?
That's hilarious.
Well, you know, the wood turners went nuts for a while about actually turning wooden cowboy hats. And I sat there and I went, this explains to me why I regard wood turning as woodworking for people who can't figure out how to cut joints. That's it.
Yeah, I think the meeting's gonna cut us off. So yeah, definitely
Oh, yeah.
great talking to you guys. Obviously next week we'll have another meeting and we'll go from there, man. Peace out,
Do our
guys.
Lemmings impersonation. We're about to go canceled.
Hey.
Have a good
Good night,
weekend.
folks.